Let's look at the different forms of Judaism in America, the various traditions that we find. We'll look at the Hasidim or the Hasidic Jews. We'll also examine Orthodox Judaism, Reform Judaism, Conservative Judaism, and also finally Reconstructionist Judaism. Hasidic Judaism consists of the Hasidims, or the pious ones. This movement was founded in the 18th century by Baal Shem Tov, and he felt that living according to the rules of the Torah and Talmud were very important, but he also wanted to have a heartfelt, devout practice that was accompanied by ecstatic sense of God's presence everywhere. This movement emphasized the beauty of everyday life and the physical world, and taught that only in tangible things can you see or hear God. It continued to inspire Jews for centuries and remains a very vital movement in Judaism today. However, there are very few Hasidic Jews in America. In fact, there's only about 165,000 Hasidim in New York City, where the largest concentration occurs. It's interesting because many who are unaccustomed with seeing Hasidic Jews confuse them with the Amish because of their tendency to wear long beards, have side locks, have black hats and long coats. So because of that similarity, many confuse them with the Amish. Traditional Judaism is often called Orthodox. It maintains the traditional practices and beliefs that have been practiced throughout history. According to Orthodox Jews, Judaism is eternal and divinely given and therefore not subject to change. So there's no need for the practices and rituals to develop or change to adapt to the current culture. Orthodox Jews are similar to many religious movements, such as Christianity, in that they have a variety of practices within Orthodox. So not all Orthodox Jews are the same. Some would be called integrationists, who seek to play a role in civil society and adapt to civil society while holding on to their traditional practices and beliefs. However, there are some separatists who want to live the traditional lifestyle and be separate from society. Let's look at some of the practices that are followed by Orthodox. First of all, Orthodox gather in synagogues and separate the males and females, often with the females sitting upstairs in a gallery. For a service to take place, there must be a quorum of 10 Jewish males. Services are conducted completely in Hebrew and completely led by male rabbis. Only males can celebrate the coming of age ceremony or the bar mitzvah. Men at prayer use the talit, seen here, at the weekday and morning, and the weekday morning prayers they use the tefillin. Males must keep their heads covered as a reminder that God is above all. Social roles are strictly separate. Men are the breadwinners of the family, and women are responsible for running of the household. This is generally practiced under the ultra-Orthodox Jews. The hair and beard in front of the ears is sometimes left uncut by males, and this is in response to the command in the Torah from Leviticus 19:27. Some Orthodox Jewish males also wear a style of dress that developed in Europe during the 19th century that we saw earlier, that is typically a black hat and a black coat. Women who are Orthodox, or who are married, sometimes cover their heads with a kerchief when outside from the home. This covering of hair is an expression of modesty because the belief is that women's hair is considered to be seductive to men. Orthodox households keep strict traditional laws about diet. Orthodox Jews closely follow rules that on the Sabbath that prohibit manual labor such as cooking or driving a car, walking long distances, dialing the telephone, or some even turning on an electric light. Many would see all of this law-keeping and following of the laws very burdensome. However, many Orthodox Jews see this as fulfilling because it connects them with God in every action throughout the day. That way their connection with God and they're being reminded constantly of the God who is around them. Reform Judaism began in the late 1700s and was influenced by the German thinker Moses Mendelssohn. This branch is sometimes called liberal Judaism, and it encompasses the more radical religious response to the Enlightenment. Mendelssohn, though he wasn't a Reformed Jew, helped shape this aspect of Judaism in that he argued for religious tolerance and held that Judaism could be combined with civil culture, and he embraced many of the ideals within the European Enlightenment, the idea of human dignity, equality, individual liberty, democracy, secular education, and the development of science. These ideals brought radical changes in Jewish circles and opened them up to new ideas. The result has been that in the Reformed synagogues, men and women do not sit separately. Their services are conducted in the native language and in Hebrew, and not exclusively in Hebrew. Choirs and organ music are common, and the use of the talit and the tefillin, as we saw earlier, has been either dropped or made optional. You'll also see women rabbis in Reformed synagogues. In the United States, almost half of all practicing Jews belong to the conservative branch of Judaism. For some Jews in this European movement that sparked the Reform Judaism tradition, it seemed too radical. So conservative Judaism traces its roots back to that time in Germany. In this time period, many within Judaism sought a way to dialogue with the current culture without risking the identity of what it meant to be a Jew. In Germany, this perspective was called the positive historical. In its later North American form, it's called conservative Judaism. But rather than just rejecting all rituals and tradition, much like the Reform Jews did, Zacharias Frankel, the father of the conservative movement, insisted on critically examining the traditions of Judaism and was trying to determine what the core of the religion was and what was merely a cultural husk in which these laws and traditions were first expressed. As you might guess, the traditions within conservative Judaism vary widely. The religion practiced by some conservative Jews looks more like the Orthodox tradition in that they conform more to the traditions and hold those more closely. However, on the other end of the spectrum, some conservative Jews are a little closer to the Reform Judaism. While they respect the tradition and hold them closely, they've not abandoned them as many of the Reform Jews have. Reconstructionist Judaism is a modern liberal branch of Judaism that emphasizes the cultural aspects of Judaism. It is the newest and smallest branch of Judaism, which grew out of the thought of Mordecai Kaplan, who was a Lithuanian who came to the United States as a child. He was influenced by American ideals such as democracy and practicality, and he became a leader for the Society for the Advancement of Judaism. He promoted a secular vision that encourages Jews to become as familiar with as many elements as traditional Judaism as possible, but it also allows for the freedom of individual interpretation. Reconstructionist Jews view the traditional elements of belief, such as angels, prophecy, revealed law, and the Messiah, as useful symbols rather than as interpreted literally by many traditional Jews. Let's look at a particular notion that's found in traditional Judaism, which is the notion of God. One Reconstructionist sees God as the power which makes me follow ever higher ideals. This is an example of a way that a Reconstructionist Jew might look at the idea of God. Now, instead of searching for a minimum number of beliefs and an essence of Judaism, Reconstructionists see Judaism as a changing force, something that's always evolving and changing. This way, Reconstructionist Jews feel that they are part of an evolving religious culture, and they are encouraged to be a participant in this evolving religion.